Welcome back to the Unanimous Decision Podcast. I am your host, D Palm. You can follow me on Twitter at DPalm66. You can follow the show on Twitter at UDPod. You can follow our entire network at the MTR Network. It's a great place you can go to for movies, video games, comic books, television, politics, and of course, sports. Now that you've found our show, make sure you hold on to our show by subscribing in the iTunes Store. Subscribe not just to this show, subscribe to the MTR Network as a whole, get the whole feed. You want to just hear certain things, subscribe to the Insanity Check feed, subscribe to Super Tuesday, subscribe to Character Corners. We've got lots of podcasts for your listening enjoyment. We've also got our premium network, which is up and running. $8 a month gets you access to way more content. We put a lot of time into it, and we're really proud of it. And we know that if we get to a 200 before March, a certain thing's going to happen. But because of the tenor and type of this podcast, I will not be discussing that at length at this time. That being said, I do believe that's all of our major business to take care of. Oh yeah, once you've found us in the iTunes Store and you subscribed, make sure you do us one more huge favor and leave a 5-star review. You don't have to say anything. I got 2 this week that no one said anything. It's just 5 stars. Every time you guys leave a 5-star review, it really helps the podcast. It's a great metric for us. It's a great metric for our advertisers like Tweaked Audio, a place where you can go and get all your audio needs met, your personal audio needs with headphones, earbuds, whatever you want over the ear, in the ear, whatever you like, Bluetooth, they've got it. And what's more is they've got 100% lifetime warranty. Use the code REVIEWS at checkout, get 33% off your entire order. Take advantage of the lifetime warranty. Man, like I said, that's a great deal, and make sure you're taking advantage of it as best possible. All right, so there wasn't going to be a podcast this week. And after the events of February 5th, I felt it would be prudent to get in front of the mocking freight train that is coming my way, because I love this show, and I love doing this show, and I love all the work I do with Chris and the network. But I'm going to tell you something, man. Having a sports show and then having your team be in the midst of a large sports moment, not the best combination all the time, because now I've got all these strangers tap dancing on my emotions, on my grave, due to the events of February 5th. Now, I know what you're saying is that, oh, D-Palm, if things had gone differently on February 5th, you'd have been tap dancing on other people's graves. That's correct, but I would not be seeking out like people to tap dance on. But I put myself in a position where tap dancing won't occur, and I can't really get that upset about it. But if this is your first time listening to the podcast, first of all, shame on you for tuning in just to hear me be upset. Second of all, I'm not going to give you what you want. You can ask people who've listened for a while. If you came for the tears of a Falcons fan, you got the wrong show, man. You got the wrong guy. I don't get that emotionally invested into football, into sports in general. But I got to say, this is different, man. This one felt different, and we're going to go through just some of the things this means to me as an Atlanta sports fan, as a Falcons fan, and how we got here. And so we're going to get some other experiences too. It's not just going to be me. I do want to go over before and say thank you regarding my viewing experience. Every year, my friend Steve opens the doors of his bar and says, "Friends and family of the bar, come on down." He welcomes me and my parents and my fiance in every year, and we have a great time. And we did it again this year because it's tradition. You hold the traditions even when your team's in the biggest game. But sometimes you should probably just, on the self-preservation end, not follow all your traditions, because what I didn't mention is that Steve and his family are ardent Patriot supporters. So while I was taking advantage and fully appreciating the hospitality they showed us on February 5th, by the time the clock hit quadruple zeros, I would have given anything in the world to be anywhere else in the world. Before we get too far into the Falcons aspect of the events of February 5th, I do want to say congratulations to the New England Patriots. Similarly, in the same vein, I want to congratulate President Trump, smallpox, that stampede that killed Mufasa, kill shelters, Cobra Kai, halitosis, the Empire, good looks. It's just, I feel like they're all on the same spectrum of things that should be thanked on a day like today. And I don't want to think people to think that I'm overstating anything or that I'm being melodramatic. The Atlanta fan spectrum hasn't been a good one. We moved here. I was born in Houston, Texas in '85, but we moved here in '88. So I am Atlanta, raised, reared, the whole 9 yards. And one of my good friends put together a pain joy matrix of Atlanta sports emotion evoked, and the joy is like really. It's like Evander Holyfield, that one run Coach Budenziger went on with the Hawks, went 19-0. The '92 playoffs in baseball, hosting the '96 Olympics, the '91 Worst the First Braves, Hank Aaron 716. Though I'll tell anyone who'll ask, I feel like Hank Aaron's not really this city because most of his career was spent elsewhere, like not in Atlanta. The Braves were in, I think, Milwaukee. The '96 Olympics, we're getting the '96 Olympics, which, if you follow Robert Brown at all, he's convinced we as a city sold our soul. And after last night, I can't actually call him a liar. If you look at the pain side, the pain is where it gets really interesting because you get every Braves early playoff exit, like literally throw a dart at a UGA football season, the '92 World Series, the '99 World Series, the '96 World Series, the 2012 NFC Championship game, the '98 Super Bowl. But because of the way it happened, because of the scale in which it happened, because of who it happened to, I can't see myself putting this game anywhere below those other games on the pain matrix. You have to remember that, like, I've done what they call immersion therapy, and I've had my friends who actually are therapists remind me that this is actually a way to overcome phobias and not actually deal with trauma. I told them they were idiots and hung up the phone. I've done it all today. I've lived on the Ringer. I listened to Bill Simmons' Emergency Patriots podcast with Mike Lombardi and cousin Sal and his dad, all just reveling in the greatness that is the Patriots. I wanted to get it all in. I wanted to feel everything because, first and foremost, we're the Falcons. There's no guarantee we'll ever be back. But secondly, because for anyone who ever asked me, oh, you had an opportunity to go to Houston, why didn't you go to the game? This is why. I could not be trusted. I could barely be trusted in the back of a cab on the way home last night. I can't be trusted in a city I don't have no ties to, I have no real connection with, in watching what happened. Because what you've got to realize is that this wasn't just a meltdown of the ages. And it wasn't just a comeback of the ages. It was a 28-3 hole. Let me just paint you guys a picture. Matt Ryan connected with Tevin Coleman for a 6-yard touchdown to go up 28-3 with 8 minutes and 31 seconds in the third quarter. That should be it. That should have been it. It should have been, the image should have been Tevin Coleman on Ninkovich in space. Just a matchup exploitation that, honestly, you used to be seeing from the Patriots to collect a touchdown. At the end of the third, Matt Ryan was 13 of 16 for 202 and 2 touchdowns. Like, this was a unit offensively that was doing very well. Defensively, the one thing people said they couldn't do was this Falcons front would not be able to get pressure with 4 down. That was a lie. I mean, we all saw what happened. It was they hit Brady all night. It was great. It was entertaining, of course, for me, but it was also very important because it didn't allow him to really get in that rhythm early. It allowed him to keep getting knocked off schedule. But as you take that step back and you look at just kind of how the game unfolded, the Patriots ran 93 plays, the Falcons ran 46. The Patriots collected 37 first downs, the Falcons collected 17. It was a clock control game, and it was the game that I thought the Patriots would come out playing in the beginning, but for that first 2.5 quarters, it just wasn't that. It was everything a Falcons fan could want. And it was interesting to watch where I was watching because, like I said, it was a Patriots bar. But there were Falcons fans who were legitimately like, this is it. This is our time. We're going to win this football game. And I smiled because I wish I could think that. At no point did any real Falcons fan calm down. Like, we were all very happy. We were all very excited. But no one was relaxed. Everyone was tense. Bomani Jones may call it the lemon booty, if you will, as a city. And I can't say that it wasn't there, that it wasn't an aspect. You look at how this meltdown happened. We're talking about an injury to the right tackle, for Atlanta, Pro Bowler. You got Jake Matthews, who hey, I've been very critical of Jake Matthews' time in Atlanta, but Donta Hightower, who is the cousin of one of my friends, which is just mind blowing. Like he is one of my. I'm a degree of separation from Donta Hightower, and he's the reason why I feel the way I do after the events of February 5th. He drew. Donta was great down the stretch. He drew holding penalties. He got the sacks and a strip sack. But I don't know. Like you say, like Grady Jarrett collecting 3 sacks, breaking the Super Bowl record, probably coasting the MVP, except for some of the things we'll talk about later. And it's just erased. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the newly named head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. He's ruminated on his play calling down the stretch. I think it was something like 4 called runs after we were up 25. You saw the injury to Tevin Coleman and then the immediate missed block by Freeman. And people say, "Oh, that's momentum." And I'll tell you what, guys, I played a lot of football. I've been around football my life, and I do not believe in momentum. We actually had a joke when they added it to the NCAA game that we'd play in college against each other. We'd say, "Momentum's a hell of a drug," and which is kind of a running joke. But your best pass catching back and pass blocking back goes down, and the other guy misses a tackle, misses a block, isn't momentum. That's cause and effect. I think that sack that pushed him out of field goal range made Shanahan a little anxious, and I think that some of the early successes with a lot of green in front of them made him more aggressive in his play calling. But I would have killed to see a couple. I'd just maybe take a knee twice down the stretch. You talk about just questionable play calling. You saw Matt Ryan not taking the play clock down. Like it's things where it was a lot of experience that just kind of paid off for the Patriots. And I don't want to just make it seem like it's, the coordinator screwed up, because he didn't. Kyle Shanahan's a good coordinator. He called an aggressive game plan. It's the same game plan we've always run all season. But I think what he didn't realize is that at a certain point, our opponent wasn't the Patriots. The Falcons' opponent was the clock. And if you either one of those drives that were in the Patriots into the field, you get a field goal at either one of them. And we're talking about a whole different experience. And I'm recording this on Sunday night, bathing myself in Budweiser, while my title belt's on my shoulder, which was the plan. I just want to run with that too. But yeah, it was lots of, and this was the way that we always said that if the Falcons, if this game turned into a shootout, this is how the Falcons would lose. It would be the death by 1,000 cuts. It would be the unparalleled and how do you game plan for the greatness that was Tom Brady last night, that has been Tom Brady over the years? They found their mismatches, and honestly, I think this is a defense that, and not to make comparisons to Bama, but it was just like that Bama-Clemson game, and saying that, the top end of the Falcons' defense when they were rested was way better than people thought, but that exhaustion set in. The 97, I think I just pulled up, 97 plays they ran. That adds up, and your pass rush, and 93 plays, nothing makes a defense, particularly a front four, tired faster than pass rushing. And I think Brady had something like 63 attempts, if you bet the over on, I think the last line was 41 completions, I think it paid out 400 to 1. So, good on you, Vegas friends who may have made that slight wager. Yeah, and it feels like I'm trying to talk about it without talking about it. But one of the two saddest parts about this are, one, the number of lost Falcon moments, because that first run from Donta off left tackle, you could have set the city on fire. You walked outside of a bar and all you heard was Atlanta music playing and people chanting ATLO for the first 2 quarters of this game. And if you want a really sad thought experiment, go to your Atlanta friends' Twitter timelines and just watch the game unfold. I did that today to myself. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Nez, for inspiring that. And it was not a fun experience. But there's so much that's lost here. You're talking, like I mentioned earlier, Grady Jarrett and the sack record. That's That's something that we didn't think we were going to see that night. We had Claiborne down with an injury. We were losing one of our best defensive ends, one of our best pass rushers. Dwight Freeney found that fountain of youth that I had hoped he would see more this year, honestly. But if there's a game for him to reach back in and put that left tackle, I think it's Nate Solder, in a spin cycle, he wrecked his life for those first 2.5 quarters. And again, like I said, just ran out of gas. You talk about Brady's pick six. He doesn't throw pick sixes. He doesn't throw pick sixes in the playoffs, and he certainly doesn't throw them in a Super Bowl. I've watched that pick about 7 times now, and people are going to say that he didn't see that safety. No, I think that was he saw the safety and he saw the bump, but he didn't think the safety would go through the man of the ball, and part of that's because, like I've said, going into the game, it was this Falcons defense was a growing commodity, the one that got better every week, and that somewhat was an X factor, somewhat was an unknown commodity. A lot of talent on that side of the ball, a lot of speed. I think what Quinn's done there in converting the Seattle cover 3 concept to the personnel that's currently residing in Atlanta has been really good. I think that 1 or 2 good first round draft picks, the return of I'm blanking right now. Again, this has been 24 hours and it's not enough time. Our corners there, I've got them written down, but you get a full complement of defensive backs out there. I think this is a much better football team. I think we're probably one more interior D lineman away from being a very, very good football team. Poole is the kind of safety you build around. He's the Earl Thomas of this defense. He hits and he's fast and he covers and he does everything you want him to do. And I couldn't be happier watching him emerge in these playoffs and last night. And then there's fucking Julio, man. I don't want to tell you. I think his final stat line was it was 4 catches for somewhere in the 60s. You could have told me it was 400 because it was 4 receptions for 87 yards, a long catch of 27. And he was targeted 4 times. He caught 4 balls. Other receivers all caught 3. He did it twice. The first one was that toe drag sideline catch that at the halftime we all saw the gif of him being added digitally to the Michael Jackson video, the Smooth Criminal doing the lean. It was so dirty, it was so nice. It felt like the perfect Falcons moment. That second toe tap, you're like, I'm watching it right now on a loop on GIF, and I don't get it. I just don't get. I don't understand it at all. I am a lineman clearly, but I physically can't relate to the human ability to do that. It feels like Mr. Jones is another species. And then you talk about down the stretch, and that would have been the big one. That would have been a great catch. The catch on the sideline to put us in position for maybe a field goal and maybe a win and maybe a very different podcast. It's the best catch I've ever seen. And it's the one where he goes above the defender, takes the ball away, and then gets that last drag double tap before it goes out of bounds. And he secures the ball, does the whole catch the ball through the motion, or however they judge a catch these days. I sound like an old man right now. Yeah, man, it's Julio did what he had to do. And I think that if the Falcons had pulled this game out, that we'd all be talking about these Julio catches. But because they're on the other side of it, it's going to fall by the wayside of history because, let's be honest, history books are written by winners. And that's not what the Falcons were last night. But I want to make something very clear. Tom Brady's the best quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life. Bill Belichick's the best coach I have ever seen in my entire life. This organization is one that the Falcons have modeled themselves after. We literally took Dimitrov and Pioli, and they're in our front office. Dimitrov dressing like a 13-year-old boy, and Pioli I'm just waiting for him to screw something up. But they're very much cut in that cloth. That's what we as a franchise and a lot of NFL franchises aspire to be, partially because of the consistent winning, of course, but also because you look at what Belichick and that team have done, particularly in the front office. They've found a way to take the NFL mandated parity of free agency and mastered it. They figured out they're the Picassos of free agency, of cap room. And it's helped very much by, if I may say, poor union member Tom Brady taking below market value, thus negatively affecting the quarterbacking salaries around the league. If you talk about being a good union man, that's not what Tom Brady is. And there are a lot of things you can say about Brady, but one thing you can't take away is the man's a hell of a quarterback. But to the Patriots organization, the Patriots fans, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I think I speak for the nation when I implore you to fornicate yourself with a stick. It's so easy. It's so Goodell is such, and I'm jumping all over the place. Sorry, but Goodell is such a singular figure of fan outrage and ridicule. Like, we all think he's the worst commissioner in sports. He punishes weed worse than he does domestic violence. He covers up CTE. He punishes players for celebrating or wearing like shoes dedicated to their mothers. We can all get behind booing Goodell for that. Why do Patriots fans boo Goodell? Because they got caught cheating twice. You entitled sons of bitches. Yeah, I don't tell you. Your franchise's fans are Marky Mark, Dana White, and Donald Trump. I don't know what to say. It's the region's obsession with victimhood that makes them so insufferable. That winning a fifth isn't enough. They didn't just win a fifth. They were vindicated for their persecution. Just win the fifth, man. Just win the fifth. Just be a normal, run-of-the-mill fan base, and we probably wouldn't hate you as much. This is America. We celebrate greatness. We've got idiot Cowboys fans still hanging their hats on things that happened in the 90s. You've got Saint fans literally setting off fireworks after the Falcons lost, which is some good, clean hate. I can't. Well played, Saints. You need to make the playoffs? Fuck you. Anyway, but I commend that hatred. That's logical, real, based in reality hatred. But what you've done as the Patriots, you've said that, oh, we're always the victim. No, you're not. You're the gold standard by which NFL, and to be honest, most pro franchises aspire to accomplish. It's you guys in the Spurs. So the woe is me, the weep for me, the persecution complex, the overcoming the odds, that can all take a hike. Take solace in you've got the best quarterback ever at a discount because his wife makes more money than he could ever dream of. Take just the knowledge that you've got the best head coach of all time. Why add on to it this veneer of woe is us? Yeah. If we could have lost to anyone, I said this last night. I said, I wish we just lost to the goddamn Packers. I wouldn't have to deal with it. But earlier today, I told everyone I was going to do this podcast because, truth be told, I have a guest on this weekend that I'm a legitimate fan of. I'm actually really excited for this guest to come on. It's a get, in my opinion. This guy's been part of some of the biggest websites on the planet. And I didn't want to drown him in this, and I know we're going to talk about this. I'm not stupid, but at least I can probably get some of the big stuff out of the way. I do want to also point out that I will be appearing on, as per my own idiocy, I'll be appearing on the 5 Questions podcast. If you remember, I was on that doing a Super Bowl preview roundtable last week. I'll be on there again. It'll be running Wednesday morning. I'll put the link up on all my social media, but yeah, I committed to doing a post-mortem on win, lose, or draw, and for some reason I'm a man of my word. But I did put this up. I said I wanted to get this out of the way. I called for emails from Falcons friends. Anyone want to talk about it? Because right now this is just group therapy. And we got our first one. Our first one's from at T-Rex Pushups. His screen name on Twitter is Godzilla Enthusiast. Good follow, guys. I don't usually pay much attention to sports, but I am a Tom Brady anti-fan. As much as I enjoyed him getting rocked 5 to 6 times, we all did. I know that bastard did mine because he won. I am now ready to be stepped on by a kaiju. Please send sweet, merciful, monster-based death now, universe. Fuck Trump, fuck Brady forever. I am Deep Palm, and I endorse every word in that one. The next one we had is Dr. Dostax. Now, I want people to note that The first two emails are not from Falcons fans. They're from people who are just sad that the Pats won. And it just feels like this has been the culmination of some great cosmic joke that's capped off by a guy with the last name White scoring the winning touchdown. Like, it's just the biggest middle finger to whoever is overwritten our just and right universe and replace it with this thing that we live in now. Oh, sorry. Second email. Dr. Dostax. Full disclosure, I'm a Browns fan and has long considered the Falcons a kindred spirit. I'm going to stop you there. That's the most insulting shit I've ever been emailed. Like that right there? That right there? Come on, buddy. Like, there are only a few teams and fan bases that can truly understand our misery, and y'all are one of them. All right, man. Look, you from Cleveland, dog. Like, you're a Cleveland fan. The only Atlanta championship that came is because Cleveland. When the Braves beat Cleveland in the '95 World Series. I know where this is coming from a good place, and I'm probably lashing out, and you probably don't deserve it, but it is what it is. Also, I rooted against y'all in the NFC Championship because I wanted to hear those Saints fan jokes. See? Then Arn and Julius Caesar talked shit about John Lewis. But I was with the rest of the nation, save for Pats fans, white people, and Saints fans. I think we had some white people too, because everybody hates Pats. That's a unifier right there, man. I'm sure some pro supporters like, man, I wish he didn't like the Patriots in pulling for the Falcons. Kyle Shanahan's need to prove his intelligence is probably the fault of his ain't shit tangerine colored father. When you don't have your kids, they end up needing to constantly prove their intelligence and worth. Kyle needs to prove to the world how smart he is. Shame we never dealt with the scourge of insufficient daddying among the white community. Thus, despite the Pats showing little ability to stop, the run, and former Cleveland-bound Javon Mack. Alex Mack's first name is Javon, and that's been underplayed all playoffs, and I didn't want to talk about it because I thought it was too much fun to bring up if we won. But yeah, Javon Mack. Getting blocks in the second level with only one intact fibula, Kyle decided he didn't need to run the ball. Instead, let's call pass plays, and not tell Matt Ryan to just throw the ball to Julio Godbody Jones every damn play. Shout out to Niners fans, because that's now y'all's man. Javon Mack played with one fibula. Julio Jones played like EA turned all his stats to 100. I'm sorry, deep home to you, that you and everyone else had to catch that L. Fuck Tom Brady, a.k.a. Captain White Privilege. Fuck dirty-ass Bill Belichick, who once lost his job for dirty macking on his boss's wife. That is 100% true. And fuck fake-ass American Robert Kraft, who got one ring stolen by Putin and will likely lose this one too. Peace, man. Remember, at least your city didn't spawn the Wahlbergs. I appreciate the email. I appreciate the sentiment. We ain't y'all, man. Like, I ain't. And the last email is from my good buddy Joe. And my good buddy Joe is Steve from earlier in this podcast, little brother. And Joe lives in Boston. But Joe's a diehard Falcons fan. Joe lives, breathes, man. Me and Joe, we get on his brother about how much we love the Falcons and how we can't understand he can't or doesn't. Joe's email starts, fuck it, I'm moving home. I don't think he's actually moving, man. It's a way to kick it off. I'm tired today because I couldn't sleep last night. Tossing and turning, trying to get comfortable with those knots in my stomach would not go away. They still have not gone away. I know they won't for some time. I've been ignoring phone calls and texts from friends and family since last night, and I'm avoiding social media altogether. I don't want to think about it, let alone talk about it. And it's not so much the loss as it is how we lost. I feel like a Seahawks fan now, asking myself why our coaches passed instead of ran. Why did we snap the ball with time off from the play clock multiple times? Who throws out a shotgun on 3rd and 1 with how well we run the ball? Yo, we didn't just throw. We took a 5-step drop after. Joe, you speak. Yes, Joe. Why didn't we run up the gut 3 times in the Pats 22 after Julio makes what should have been the catch of the year to force the Pats to burn timeouts and set up a 40-yard field goal to essentially seal the game away? Look, man, if Falcons, y'all want to hire Joe, man. Joe on something, man. Joe's got the answer to these questions, he continues, mean nothing now. We lost the Super Bowl to the most obnoxious team with the most obnoxious beat writers that cater to the most obnoxious fans. From now on, losing this game will be to us what the 18-1 is to the Patriots. It will be remembered forever, no matter how successful we might be in the future, and will always be shown on every Super Bowl graphic until there is no Super Bowl, and every Pats fan will never let you forget it. The only bright spot I see is the defense looked great through 3 quarters. Sacking Brady 5 times in the Super Bowl is no small feat. We should be better with next year with draft picks and Trufant. Tip of my tongue. Back, and the offense will hopefully return next season to all its glory. Right now, I'm happy that we should have a few primetime games next season and pray we don't end up like the Panthers. Fuck today, and as always, fuck the Saints. Your boy, Joe. Joe, That's what I needed, man. I could have saved myself a podcast. Just read Joe's email, man. The man is on point. He knows what he's talking about. That's the heart and soul of an Atlanta fan that's had it ripped out. And what Joe didn't say, and what I'm going to say, is that the worst part of it all, is that we finally convinced ourselves we weren't ourselves. The spirit in the city the last 2 weeks has been off the charts, man. You watch those last two dome games, watch the crowd, man, it's rocking. From the second kickoff to 4-0 on the clock, man. The city was galvanized in a way that I hadn't seen in a long time around a team that honestly had never really inspired this kind of love. At least a love that could match potential success on the field. Because we love the Vic team, but I don't think that even the most ardent supporter would say that those were well built or built to last teams. What we have here, what we had here, what we saw here was an opportunity to change our history. And we came up short. And let's say first of all, it's really hard to go back. People underestimate how hard it is to go back because you're not just doing it. Because when you're doing it the first time, you're kind of like you throw a puppy and it'll feel like you just, it's all so exciting and new. And now, for the fan base, for the front office, for the guys in the locker room, the specter of this meltdown, the specter of this collapse will hang over them forever. And I've just sat here for 30 minutes with no notes and no rundown and 3 emails. And I could talk for another hour, but I'm not going to. It's late. I'm going to get this thing recorded or get this thing posted. Chris is going to put it up whenever he does. And we'll be back next week, man. Like, this doesn't stop anything. Like, the show is the show. I'm going to catch hell on social media. I'm going to catch hell on this other show tomorrow night. But if y'all know me, I'm going to bring that hell too. So we're going to have fun with it. If you got a Falcon fan in your life, just check on them. And I know it seems stupid. It's particularly coming from me and my cynical ass about sports. But woo, the fifth was a smoker, man. Again, follow me on Twitter at dpalm66. Go look at my timeline from the fifth and laugh to yourself. Just don't like them. Like, if you like them, then I get the notification and I got to see that shit again. So you just read them, please. You can follow the show on Twitter at UDPod. You can follow the network on Twitter at the MTR Network. Now that you found this show, subscribe to the show and all of our shows on iTunes and leave 5-star reviews on the main feed. Leave 5-star reviews on this show, on every show you listen to. Guess what? It takes nothing from you, some words, or maybe just hitting the button for the 5th star. But it means a lot to us, and it would mean a lot to us to see you do it. You can email the show at udpodcast at gmail.com, excuse me. And, yeah, man. We'll be back, like I said, Sunday. I've got a great guest. He's been a part of some of the bigger sites on the internet, and I'm a huge fan of his work, writing, digital media, everything he does. And I'm excited to bring it to you guys. And then we'll get into this offseason, man. We'll get into this football stuff. There's going to be some writing going up on the site from me about the draft, which is going to be interesting to see how we pull that off. But it's good. It's good. In high school and in college, all my coaches had the 24-hour rule. And the 24-hour rule was that win, lose, or draw, you can only think about a game for 24 hours. I'm not there. It's been about 24, and I'm not there yet. But, Falcons fans are gonna be all right, man. This is not '98 where it was flash in the pan. This is not Chris Chandelier and Jamal Anderson's knees and then hoping with a pretty good defense. This is something else. This is coordinators getting taken because they're so good and they did so much here. And I'll make fun of that Niners hire on Sunday. So be ready for that. That was your show. This is your outro. See you next week. ATL, ho! ATL, ho! ATL, ho!